Flooding, earthquakes, hurricanes, and tsunamis all bring devastation and loss of life. But there is so much that communities can do to minimize its devastating impact. UMCOR offers disaster-prone communities interactive training on disaster risk reduction, a training which helps participants take the right steps in reducing disaster risk.
Disaster risk reduction is really the concept of mitigating disasters and lessening their impact when they do happen. And it's an important cross-cutting theme that could be applied across all different kinds of programs and projects. Disaster risk reduction also raises awareness among the populations about what they may be at risk for, being aware of their vulnerabilities, addressing those vulnerabilities before disaster happens so that if and when a disaster does come along, they're better prepared and they can minimize its impact, which then makes recovery after a disaster easier. It makes it less costly and just kind of improves overall quality of life in those communities too.
Thank you for support my Philippines!
The focus is on disaster risk instead of disaster management, instead of response. So you go, it's proactive instead of reactive. So it's a 3-day training that we do. It takes a lot of time because the community, the organization, we really have to do the hazard assessment. The hazard assessment is the part where they would name, identify the different hazards that would come to their community.
The great thing about the training in general is the third day provides the candidates with a real-life situation, and it's a simulation exercise based off the training they had learned previously, in the previous 2 days. And we put them in the situation and see what new tools and skills they can use that they learned.
Disaster risk reduction training helps participants identify practical ways to reduce destruction caused by a disaster, such as raising a house onto stilts, building a retaining wall, or planting mangroves to reduce the impact of storm surges. In this way, communities are better prepared for disasters and more resilient to their impact.
We will duplicate this in communities so that the community themselves will have the opportunity to have the assessment in their community so that the DRR will be a community-based disaster risk reduction program that they can implement themselves.
We're working to train both our field offices, our field staff in all the countries where we work. So starting with Armenia, Georgia, Sri Lanka, and then we're going to roll it out in some of our field offices in Africa, in Asia, and certainly Haiti will be on the list as well.